going. Just needed you to stand over my shoulder.
What it is
Yeah. Hey. Okay. That was weird, but okay. I think we're good. We're in love.
We good? All right. All right, I call this meeting to order. Can we get a, did everybody get a chance to look over the agenda? Do you have any additions, questions, comments? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? All in favor? Aye. Did everybody get a chance to look over the minutes from the last time, which was forever?
We do not.
Announcements.
Announcements. Yeah, so I think you all know that Sherry Byers has given her resignation for the board, so this will be her last meeting with us. So thank you for your service. We appreciate, the time you have put in here. So we do have the vacant position. It goes to town council on Thursday with the applications. I believe we have 5 on file. Council will review those applications and they'll either ask for us to advertise and solicit more applications, or they can make an appointment on Thursday night's council meeting. So that is.
And on behalf of the board, just one thing. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. I love being a part of it. And it's bittersweet, but it's just don't have the time anymore. I don't even get to see my neighbor.
Introductions.
Yeah, so with us today, we have our new town manager. You have been here a month.
Just over a month.
We have Matthew McCarahan, and I will let him introduce himself and give you a little bit of his background.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for letting me crash the party today. It's a pleasure getting to meet you all. And Sherry, I know that we just met, but thank you so much for your service to the board. And I would say, in general, having dedicated volunteers to serve in such important roles such as this, it can't be understated just how important it is for you all and for anyone who takes that time to advise us on how we need to be moving forward as an organization and as a community. So thank you for your time and try not to go too far because I'm sure we could find another place that may also be able to utilize your services and your attention in the future. Sounds good. Well, I do. So again, as Nicole was nice enough to say, my name's Matt McCarahan. I've been here for a little over a month now in the role of town manager, and it's I'll give a little bit of my background. I'm happy to answer any questions, though. I'll start at the high level, and I'm happy to go into detail as well. So I come to you from the village of Pinehurst, where I was there for about 3 years in a role called the Organizational Performance Director. And I love saying what that role was because nobody knows what it means. And I joke that I don't really know what it meant either, but really what it is focused on strategic planning and performance of an organization. So my job there, and in general, my experience over the last decade or so within local government and local government adjacent work is really helping communities be able to understand what their vision is, what their goals are, and then put them in a place to be able to actually achieve that direction. So, and to do so in an efficient and effective way. So you'll hear me say over the coming months and years that I try to focus on data-driven decision making and not making decisions by gut And that's really what we try to focus on, is to make sure that we are making the most efficient and effective use of the resources and the finite resources that we have within our community, to make sure that we're good stewards of taxpayer money, but then also making sure that we're not reactive to situations, but proactive, and making sure that the town of Mills River is able to achieve what it wants to be today, but then also with a plan for the next 5, 10 years and more moving forward. And so really that's my background. That's really what I try to focus on. And what I've been, working with staff is to say that that's my subject matter expertise. And I lean on Nicole and I lean on Michelle for their subject matter expertise when it comes, in this case, into Parks and Recreation, and our entire subject matter expertise on our staff, to say, how can I best be able to support them? And so I tell you right now, as you all know, we have an incredibly strong staff here, and I'm thankful to be a part of it. A little bit more about myself. I'm from Eastern North Carolina, born and raised. I like to joke that I've been working systematically, trying to get further and further west. But growing up there, we came out to Henderson County, we came out to Buncombe County and this entire area for family events, for whenever we needed a vacation. This is where we came to, and this is where I love to be. And in fact, without even really, in communication, I actually had family from another part of the country that said, "Hey, Matt, we're going to be moving to North Carolina, and we're moving to this little place called Mills River." And I said, "Well, that's even more reason why I need to find a way to get out here." And so it's actually, for me, although professionally I'm excited to be here, personally I'm also been trying for years to move out to this area, and to have this opportunity actually to be able to serve in this role for Mills River means a lot to me, and means a lot to me personally. So I just want to thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to be here, and to be able to serve you all as much as I can in any way that I can. So obviously you see me today, but my office is open, and my phone number is, still the same as when it was, when Daniel was here. Please, by all means, reach out to me in any way that you think that I can support you and the work that you all do. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have, and go from there. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Kristen Cowick. I'm a transplant. I've been here for about my life. Grew up here. So this then yeah, same thing. I went to Brevard College. So but yeah, like what
John, oh, go ahead. Raised my kids here, and just love outdoors. I love what's happened with this park. I love that we have a park, but to see it grow the way it's grown has just been amazing for this little community. I have 3 daughters, 6 grandkids, my husband, and parents that are aging. So that's, there's a lot that played into me having to leave this role, but I've really enjoyed being a part of this group, and they're very professional and really committed to, making sure good things happen. Hate to leave it, but I'm interested in looking forward to watching it get better and better.
me? John, you're up.
started, what, 12 years?
What about that?
I retired from Kimberly Clark. Conville, it was great. From $8,000. Can't hear a thing, so I have it wrong. That's me.
I'm Laura Moore. I've been on the board for, I think, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And I am a sixth generation Henderson County resident. So I've been here forever. We left for a little bit while my husband was in the military. But when my kids were old enough to just get to know their grandparents, we decided we needed to move back here to have roots. So we love Mills River, thankful to be a part of here. I started in high school working at Jackson Park. So I loved the park and have been involved in different parks throughout my time since high school. And when I saw that the park had an opening for the board, jumped at it and love being a part of this group. They're like family to me. Um, Anything else about me? I have 2 children, son, daughter, both grown, and hubby is on the planning board, and that's me.
Eugene Edwards. I've lived in Mills River for 15, 16 years, something like that. Moved here from Nashville, Tennessee, so I just dropped the N and with the A. And I have lived in Nashville. I have lived here. I lived in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Phoenix, Arizona, working in the electric business. So Eaton Corporation moved me here. I retired here. Wife loves the seclusion. She loves the mountains. I would move downtown Atlanta if I had a choice, but my wife said I don't have the choice. So here we are. Love the park, love the board. I am the one pushing unreasonable requests like I want this expansion to happen in a matter of months, years, you know. I'm like 10, 12, 15 years of expansion. I'm like, that's what it comes. I wanted to happen a lot faster. So, it's been a good board. It's been a good city. It's growing, which is a difference. I'm probably one of the few people that I like to grow.
I'm Tammy Ross. I live right here on Schoolhouse Road and have a little mini farm with lots of animals. And I have 2 children, 16-year-old. He's a lot of fun. And an 18-year-old who just started college at Mars Hill. He moved in this weekend. And my husband and I have been here for, I guess, about 14 or 15 years now. And I'm from the Raleigh area. I grew up in Apex and Cary. And anyway, so we ended up here, and this is where we wanted to raise our kids, and we've been really happy. And I'm a big volunteer at the schools, at the high school, middle school, elementary school, wherever. But I'm a big advocate for helping the schools and being a part of that. And then I have loved being on this board and being a part of it for however many years it's been now. It's been awesome.
I want to just thank you all for that. I do appreciate it. And I, the expansion was brought up, and I think it's also helpful to probably put a little bit more of my comments as well, specifically towards Parks and Rec. Before I forget, though, my wife and I, she's going to get really tired of me talking about her when she's not here right now. But we just got married in September, and I told her that when coming out here that I was like, hey, we have an opportunity, and we absolutely love this place, and she jumped at the opportunity to come out here to the mountains as well. And one of the reasons why is because actually one of the first things we started dating during COVID, and I said, hey, for our first like real date, I know exactly where we want to go. and we actually ended up in Henderson County, and she fell in love with it. And we, apple picking season is coming up soon, so it was apple picking season when we came out here, and so she said we had an opportunity to come out here. So I just think it's also helpful to provide that little bit of context since you all were so kind to share about your families as well. When it comes to the park expansion as specifically, it's one of the things that I think Nicole and I spoke about rather early on, maybe even one of the first meetings that we had when I got here, and I think it speaks mostly to where I believe we are as an organization planning for that future. Again, my strategic planning background, that's where my brain is going as well. And so I will tell you, it's within the budget for FY 2025 is for the town to embark on its first ever strategic plan and its first ever strategic planning effort. And as a part of that effort, it's not just a strategic plan for some, it's a strategic plan for all of the organization and the community at large. And so for that reason, I know and we know just how important this park is and how important the park expansion is. And so rest assured that at least when it comes to my focus on our strategy over the next 5 years, the park expansion is going to obviously play a major role in that, and making sure that we continue to build and keep up the momentum that was behind the acquisition of the parks that property, but then also making sure that we actually put together a plan and a process for taking it from concept to reality. And so any way that I can help to champion that, that's my job, and I look forward to it. So I just hope that's helpful for you all as well.
Cool. Moving on, old business.
Old business. Yeah, just a quick update. I did send you all an email, but I know sometimes folks don't always check that. But we we were last week, so last Friday they announced the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund. You all remember how hard we worked in the last year to meet a very tight deadline for the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant for the acquisition of the Johnson Farm property. And so we did receive that grant, so that is super exciting. And just as a reminder for you also, that is a reimbursement grant. So essentially it is the money back for the purchase of that property. And so as soon as we get our grant contract, we'll be able to go ahead and get moving on getting that grant and getting that money in. So thank you all for your hard work. I know that was a lot of, we had lots of extra meetings, lots of maybe long meetings. Apologize for those that like them long, but you all put in the work and it definitely paid off in our application. So
We got to spend the money and send them the receipt to get them.
well, we've already spent the money because we've already purchased the property. So the money's been spent, so it's strictly reimbursement for what has already been spent, which is exciting. So that's all I have for that. And then speaking of grants, so our accessibility, our accessible playground project, you all remember working on that. Last year we were awarded was it $263,000 to do that playground project. I know nobody has seen anything happen yet, but we've been working diligently in the background to get the design work done for that project. And so we are to the point where we're ready to put the project out to bid. So in your packets, if you all would just want to take a look, just wanted to give you an update on that project. And I should have actually, I didn't even think about it to show you the concept because I know it's been a little while since you've seen it, the initial concept to compare. But so you can see where our parking spaces are. You can see, and actually, Michelle, would you mind? I have the PDF. Will you share it on the Zoom so if anyone's watching at home, they can see it as well? And we can see it on the, yeah, it's already pulled up. So if you just click the share screen and then click the PDF. So essentially what's going to happen is when you walk out from the playground across from the library, we'll now have, instead of that little straight downhill ramp, we'll have that turning ramp, but we really want to add those play features. So added to this project is not just the ramp, which is obviously highly needed for proper ADA accessibility, but we're also going to add multiple play features. So we've got our hill grade slide. I know I was a fan of a lot of folks. So basically kids can get out of the parking lot, drop in the playground, slide down the slide, and be at the existing play space, which is really going to be a neat feature.
Well, kids at heart also be able to slide down.
Kids at heart will also be able to use
Okay,
that.
that's fine.
Yes. So for that, we specifically picked a covered slide because of its sun exposure. So that way there is, without having to put a full shade over it, it won't be that full hot sun. Obviously,
Be one of those old time slides, metal ones.
no,
That funny thing,
no,
like 200 degrees.
no,
Ouch.
no.
Okay.
So, but that's why it is a tube slide, but it does have like clear components in it, so for visibility. Yeah. Then of course we have some climbing rocks so kids can climb back up the hill using those rocks. The steps, we'll have what they call an omni spinner, which is a spinning feature, which will be cool for our playground. That'll definitely be I think a popular feature, something we don't have at our current playground. And then what we call a cozy dome, which is like a climbing feature that it's open, so it's not like anything's hidden, but it's like an open feature where you can either climb under or climb on top. And then of course we'll have our musical features, which I'm sure my coworkers will thoroughly enjoy, being outside their office. So anything you see, like the ramp area is all going to be concrete. And just a reminder, while it doesn't show it on the design, we'll have like fun play prints along the sidewalk. So even going down the sidewalk will be a way to play. And then anywhere where there's playground equipment we'll have that pour in place rubber surfacing, making it that smooth transition from sidewalk to playground surfacing. In addition to that, not on this is also the story walk that will be added. And again, that just because the contractor is not that won't be part of the contract bid. That'll be a separate project, but that will have that nice tie-in with the library. And the library has agreed to change out and provide the books for that story walk. So that'll be a really nice connection. Just for the timeline for the project, so we plan to send the grading portion of this project out to bidders on September 6th. Ideally, we'll look to receive the bids by October 1st, with awarding the contract at the October 10th, by October the 10th. We are planning for 120 days for construction, and then an additional 21 days specifically for the playground equipment. So what'll happen is the grading contractors will come in, do all the grading work, the concrete work, all the base work. Then the playground folks will have to come in and install their equipment. And then the last thing that'll have to be done is the asphalt trail. There will be some impact to our playground, so we are, which is why we've waited as late as we can to try to miss as much of soccer season as possible when we know the park's busy, and once the time changes that first week in November, where there's just not as much use in the park. So we're trying to really minimize impact by doing the bulk of this work over the winter, but there of course is going to be some impact to park users. So that's it. It's exciting to finally see this. It'll be exciting to see it on the ground. Does anybody have any questions about the project or the process going forward?
So it looks like you have on here, it's gonna be a black vinyl coated chain link fence along the top.
Mm-hmm.
Think we have that anywhere else in the park?
That is every other fence other than split rail is black vinyl chain link. So the
Well, I
dog
guess
park,
around
the
the
basketball
dog
court,
park,
the tennis
yeah.
courts. And so that is,
So we're just not gonna have to split rail.
so the problem with keeping split rail there, which while it looks nice, and we did talk about this, we probably will look to do some landscaping across the top so it's not quite as noticeable. But for safety reasons and durability at the playground, we do feel black vinyl at this point is the best option.
And just to go into a little more detail on that, so.
To go a little more detail into that, Nicole, when you're talking about durability, is because the kids running across that top section coming, down basically would funnel them a little bit down without cutting across. Is that correct?
As far as durability, I was talking about durability of the fence itself.
Oh, okay,
as
sorry.
far as, like compared to a split rail fence.
Gotcha. Okay, I didn't know when you said durability whether or not you were talking about the fencing or actually the landscaping concept there.
No, it's strictly the fence.
Okay,
the
sorry.
fencing
Thanks for that
material.
clarification.
Yeah, sure.
We're
Do you
good.
have another question?
No, we're good.
I have a comment.
Sure.
I love the bar graph. Thank you. That helps.
Yeah,
helps
I
see the
would agree.
perspective.
Yes,
Thank you for that.
it's,
So, as I said, this is up for discussion, with town council on Thursday, but it's nothing more than an update, just as I'm giving you all. Once we get bids, bids back, that's when we'll get the real action going. So, yeah, so that's exciting. Just to check in that project is moving forward, and it'll be exciting this winter to see that happening. That's all I got for that.
yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Excited. Anything? Move on.
That's oh,
New business.
new
Do-
business. Yeah, so if you all recall, and I know this was quite a while ago now, we discussed when we were having our discussion on our cost recovery program and fees when we just started programming, that it was a discussion that you all had regarding potential scholarships and wanting to make sure things are accessible to everybody. And at that time, because at that point we didn't even have a program that cost money when we first had those conversations, we kind of tabled it and said, let's revisit it when there's a need. And so we have had a request that said, we would from a Mills River citizen that says, I would really love to participate in your programs, but we just can't afford it. And so we just thought it was time to re-up this conversation. We're not really looking for decisions of anything today, but just wanted to revisit that discussion. So what I'm hoping to get out of the discussion today is for you all to, one, discuss, is that something, a policy or program for need-based scholarship, something you would like us to look into to bring back some policy? And then if the answer is yes, talk a little bit about, what that looks like. So is it just for children? Is it for all Mills River residents? Is it just for children and seniors? Some of those sort of things. So I guess the first conversation or discussion is, at this point, I mean, we've had one request. Our programs are growing. Tennis has become a really popular program. We're starting Taekwondo. We've got our refit classes. So while we still do offer probably the bulk of our programs that are free, our movie nights, our things of that nature, our availability for paid programming is increasing, and we hope it continues to increase. And so since we did have the request, we just wanted to bring the conversation back up as it's something you all deferred at a previous meeting.
So, yeah, so I was kind of thinking, like start very simple. And at least like this is the time to do it. We don't have a ton of programs, or let me rephrase that. We have a lot of programs. We're starting to introduce more programs that cost more money. So this is a great time to introduce some sort of like, hey, if you meet these criteria, this is the scholarship or whatever you call it. And then yeah, keep it super simple. Maybe a percentage versus tiered or levels. I think we talked about that last time, of having different, cost structure. And then with the idea being that, 5-10 years down the road, we revisit it. And, as more situations come up, we're like, okay, yeah, this is what we should do here. Let's make it more specific, make it more structured. Does that make sense? That's what I was thinking. So in other words, basically like, hey, let's do, if you are in that situation, 75% of the ticket price or we wouldn't call it retail price of the price of the
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, and we can, we'll look at, there's a bunch of different formulas out there and examples that we can bring you. I think, well, the first is there support for staff to spend time on this? Is this something you think has value that we should be looking into as far as policy development? Because there's a lot of things to consider is not just even policy, but it affects revenue. And so that's something that it'll be a process to get there. I mean, this may not be something that we can even do till next budget cycle. But we want to make sure we're ready for that conversation when we start having budget discussions. So,
Do we know, we compared our participation prices to what they charge in Henderson Park or Buncombe County?
we do, we look
We're in
when,
line?
mm-hmm, yeah, we look at what we're aligning to, and I think our, we have that cost recovery, which is what we base our our fees based on. And I think our prices are very reasonable, but there's, a lot of people that's just a luxury. And as I said, the demand at this point hasn't been overwhelming that I think if we start this, I'm going to have 200 people at my door saying, "Hey, we need this." But we have had a request, and so I do think it's important that if it's something we're going to consider, we do have a well thought out policy and procedure of how that money would get distributed and accounted
I
for.
definitely think that staff should think of a couple of different structures and how that would work. And I think it's time to, because it is growing, and we definitely want it to be accessible to all the kids and everybody throughout Mills River. And I'll say, I don't know exactly what the norm is or what other counties do, so just, well,
I
just
agree.
know what different.
I agree totally. I think that.
Trust
if
staff to
that's
come bring it.
Start working into it. I'm thinking ahead, well, how do you do this, how do you do that, but we just want to know, should we start? And I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah, so I think that's the first question to answer, and if, get consensus from the board that the answer is yes, we'll certainly look into some policies.
Hate
I-
to see anybody not be able to enjoy programs that are offered.
So I think with that, I think that's great. That's easy for us to go and we'll start researching. We've already looked at some other policies, other places that we think have done it well, to bring back to you. So the next, I think, big question that we've seen with policies is who is eligible. I think, some places do allow it for non-residents. I would recommend that we keep any scholarship program to Mills River residents, at least to start. The question is age, and so a lot of places only do it for children. So
What do we
this
call the
spec-
children, 18 and under,
well, it's
under-
defined differently by
Yeah.
different folks, and so that's as we're developing a policy, depending on the direction the board would like to go, also depends on how you qualify needs. So we just want to make sure that the policies we're looking at and comparing to have the intent. I've seen, there are departments that just do it's only for children. So anybody, again, maybe under the age of 18, under the age of 16. I've seen it where it's any citizen of that municipality. And I've seen it where it's focused specifically on children and seniors. And so that's just something to think about and discuss of as we're developing our policy of, is this something we want to open up to all citizens, or do we want to hit certain demographic bases that we know there's certain different needs for?
I was gonna say, obviously, children, but that we should be able, I know we don't have a lot of senior programs, if any, they can do the refit or they can do pickleball or whatever, but I think it should be. It's tough. I'm almost, I hate to say, even just middle-aged, regular people that can't, you want your community to be involved, to be healthy, to, to be a part of what's going on. And some people just can't do that. So,
I kind
Yeah.
of feel if there's a program available
yeah,
for an age group, should be that option.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
open up
under-
to all citizens, is that the consensus I'm hearing?
I'm leaning also.
I agree. I feel like, it supports what our mission is.
That's
If we
what I was just.
keep our mission like in the center, think about what that is, that I feel like it should be for all as well, but that's fine.
So that's,
hopefully-
is there any direction you feel, any other direction you need to feel from the board as we move forward on some policy development for that? Those were the two I had, was just the again, is it something you all want to do and then look at, and then we will look at the various ways to, again, is it some sort of phase based on your income? We will bring back a few options when we are able to pull together some sample policy and we can review internally with staff and then ultimately, of course, because it does have a financial impact, you know, that any policy we develop would have to go to town council, at least for the budgeting piece of it. So, but I think that gives us enough to have really good direction, and with your support, we'll begin drafting some policy to bring back to a future meeting later this fall. But, does anybody have any other questions on that?
Do we need to make a motion for that or just?
I don't think so. I think just, you know, we have direction from council until we have an actual policy. No motion would be needed.
Cool.
So that's
I was thinking. If you,
We're good.
just really
We're
quick,
good.
Were y'all,
Depends.
you're still looking for the chimney sign or?
yes, that is on my to-do list. It has not made it to the top yet, but yes, we will bring that back at a future meeting. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of signs, the new signs look really good. I know there's, well, they're not
Uh,
really new anymore, but they look.
The
good.
rule signs, the
Yeah.
new printed rule signs. Yeah, I think they look good.
And one other thing, I think I mentioned to you, but that was in passing when we were with Mr. Livingston, but, the pickleball courts, cause I'm now pickleball pro. I forgot to mention that in my, the, fencing on the far side is.
Yes, I am very short-staffed right now. So I promise we will get to it. I will get to it. Until then, you will have to, you will have to chase your pickleballs. We are, you know, we did put the position back out. We do have some candidates. We've just finished interviews. Today was our last interview, so hopefully we will get that position filled very quickly.
Pickleball.
Mhm.
We're running pickleball paddles and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-mm. No, yep, everybody brings their own. We do have some here that, for some of our programs, we utilize, but nope.
You have to sign up.
It's open court unless, there's scheduled times where the lessons that are through the park are using the court. So then,
No conflict with the tennis players.
no,
No,
there
it's-
hasn't been.
They've been pretty good
Yeah.
about, you know, because we have we've kept the 2 tennis courts that are only tennis, and I think that's really helped, where some other municipalities have taken all their tennis courts and put
Yeah.
pickleball. So tennis, why they have less than they used to that's dedicated to them, they still do have 2 solely dedicated pickleball courts.
We were
It-
playing the other day and, it's almost like I forgot it was a tennis court. So anyway, the court behind us was not being used and the people came and sat down and were waiting. And then finally, when we finished our game, they asked if we would move to the other side so they could use that whole for tennis because the 2 courts were
Courts are
in. No, oh yeah, forgot this was a tennis court. By all means, 'cause the other court was empty and it wasn't covered, so.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I think just like most things, even pickleball and tennis players are nicer in Mills River. That's-
So, that's first.
Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet.
Dog park.
Yeah. So that's all I had, unless y'all had any questions, and if y'all want to hang around for a few minutes and introduce yourselves again to Karen, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions.
Next meeting?
Yeah, so our next meeting will be September 24th. Will be our regularly scheduled meeting.
When? You said December or September?
September, I'm sorry, September.
Laura, are you gonna be?
I will not be here to support.
September, okay, I do not, I think
Wow,
I am not
yes, I'm-
going to be here.
Okay, no Tristan that meeting. Okay,
But I'll be back in,
okay. Alrighty.
I'll remind you.
It's the 24th. another
John
pizza
is the one you're gonna have to
meeting.
answer to.
Need to have a pizza meeting.
Pizza meeting. Wow.
As long as it's an under an hour, we're good. All right, anything else? Can I get a motion?
John?
John.
All right. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Cool. That was, man. That was a short meeting. That was a short meeting. So
They used to
I
say
do what I
most
can. Right.
afraid of bikes. I had learned all my kids, my 3 sons ride bikes, and I learned the hard way. And I got a friend of mine who had the big Gold Wing, and he was showing me how to ride it, and I was riding his Gold Wing